right. My name is Shane Barker. I am the founder of TraceFuse AI. I've been in the digital space for way too many years to mention, probably 25 years. I have a website, shanebarker.com as well. I've had a number of online businesses, some offline businesses, and I'm excited about being here today.
Awesome, my man. Thank you so much for being here.
Of
Now,
course.
I'm just going to jump right into it. Give me, what is your secret to a good life?
Man, secret to a good life. I can't believe that I've had to live my whole life and I'm just going to be giving this to you for free, right? And this is like pretty crazy. But I'll tell you my secret to a good life. A lot of things changed for me during COVID, not necessarily, business wise. Actually, business got better during COVID for some number of my businesses. But what COVID made me realize was the secret to a good life is I hate to say balance because that sounds like that's kind of cliche, is balance. But it really is. It made me realize during COVID that really things can happen that are outside of your control, right? And COVID was one of those things that made me realize, hey, like, we don't know how long we have on this earth, right? We don't know if it's going to be one more week, it's going to be one more hour. You can live to be 110, who knows? And what COVID made me realize is like, am I really enjoying the life that I currently have, right? Like my thing was always get more businesses, do more work, get on more stages, get another house, buy another Rolex, buy another car. Like it was very materialistic. I always, even as a kid growing up, I wanted to, money was a big thing for me. I would embarrass my mom and I would go to all these little places where they'd have the newspaper and I'd check to see if there was a nickel in there or a quarter, or we'd be at a 7-Eleven and I would always try to get my hands into there where people dropped their change. Like I was always money driven. And I had set goals early on in my life to get to $1 million by a certain age. And I realized that was all stuff that brought me superficial happiness, right? Like I had a company that was doing really well and we would go, my wife and I'd go on these big shopping sprees and like, yay, we buy all kinds of stuff. And that was awesome until Monday when reality hit. And I still have a lot of different things that I need to deal with, right? So I was chasing something that I think a lot of people chase when it comes to success. I'm a very driven type person. My goal is always to go to the next level and go to the next level. And I realized in one of my businesses that I had, where, we got it up to, had about 130 employees and it was, great. We opened up 2 new offices. And what happened when I opened up two new offices was it just brought me more headache and not more revenue. Right. And so, but in my mind, I've always been, I've always trained myself, hey, go bigger, right? Grab, you have 20 employees, get 30 employees, get 50 employees. Like, what do you need to do to make this thing huge, right? And we always go for the big dreams. I want to be, Elon Musk Jr. or whoever you want to be, right? Like, I think Elon's a little out of my league, but you get my point. The point is what are we doing to grow and make things happen? And because of COVID and because of past businesses, I realized I don't need to be all that, right? Materialistic things are awesome and they're great. And, I'm not saying I don't like money. I'm not saying I don't like, a car and do this and do that. But really, what are we doing to enjoy life, right? What am I going to do? My thing is when I died, I wanted to give my son these 50 things and do this and do that. I'm not saying I don't want to take care of my son, right? Like at the end of the day, we all want to take care of our families. But I realize because of the limited time that we're on this earth, that you really have to choose time and what you do wisely. And I was working 18 to 20 hours at a certain point. And I'm not talking about like, take 2-hour break and go hang out with the family. Like I was working 18 to 20 hours. And that's, with how quickly I talk and the things that I do, that's without drugs. I don't really need that. I wake up in the morning and, I'm already in 5th and 6th gear. I have some coffee because I enjoy it. But I was an absolute savage, maybe not in a good way. I was 30 pounds heavier. I was highly, highly stressed. I didn't have any kind of balance. I had zero balance. In fact, my mom was nervous. My mom's a nurse. My wife's a nurse. My mom was nervous. My mom thought I was going to have a heart attack and die because of the amount. And, and I was going in this direction, got to do more. Right. And then I finally realized, got to do more for what? Right. Like, I could right now, if I wanted to, and I'm not saying this to brag, but I can do just about anything I want. Right. Now, am I going to go buy a plane? No, I don't have that kind of money and I don't really want a plane. Right. The gas is way too expensive. I'd rather go Southwest. But you get my point. Like I can do anything I want. I can go on trips. I can do things. And what do I need to do more of that to enjoy life? Right. What can I do to hang out with the people that I want to hang out with and really develop out those relationships? And before it was always business. It's always networking. It was always this. And now I've learned to delegation, obviously being a big thing as well, right? Is outsourcing and understanding that, I'm not the end all be all. I don't have to be in control of everything. In fact, it's better off. At one point, I was the bottleneck in a lot of my businesses because everything has to come through me. Everything has to go through Shane. Well, guess what? When I'm getting up to 18 and 20 hours a day, that doesn't leave a lot of time for sleep. If anybody's not real good at math, that was leaving, 4 to 6 hours for me. 6 hours being like, that would just be, I don't even know how to handle 6 hours. And 3 hours was regular. Now I sleep 8 hours. I walk about 20,000 steps a day. I get up early in the morning. I have an amazing team that does an amazing job that I've done delegation with. And I encourage my team to do the same thing. We have this grind mentality. Hey, you got to work more hours. You got to do this. You work smarter, right? And it doesn't, what is your goals? You can hit your goal. You don't need to be $1 billion company, right? And my thing was, and once again, COVID was that for me that thought, man, this is outside of my control. Whatever you believe about COVID, whatever your political affiliation is, whatever you believe, it doesn't matter. But for me, the world shut down and it was crazy and it was outside of our control. And I thought, man, what happens if something like that happens again and I have all kinds of money or I have all kinds of whatever I think is success, but I've missed out on these human relationships, these people that I really wish I would have spent more time with. Great, I have all kinds of money, awesome. But I would much rather spend time with you, Eric, than go and more money, right? Right. And that's what I'm looking at. And so for me, it was okay, let me recalibrate and take a look at this, do some delegation. I mean, like right now, I do sales meetings. I do sales meetings from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I have my Mondays and my Fridays to either work on stuff or not work on stuff, right? But the historical, Shane, bro, if I'm not working 7 days a week, then you're not doing a good job, man. You got to get in there. And that's what that's going to do is that's going to crush your soul. That crushes your energy. And what you do is you start to do things. I was doing, 5-hour energy and I got to stay up later and I got to do this. And that's not the way to do things. That's not the way. The other side of this is that's not the way to build a company. Because guess what happens? If you're the head of the company and if you can't go on a week's vacation, guess what? You don't have a company. You are a company. And so if you were to get hit by a bus, your company would be gone because you don't have those processes. You don't have a team in place that you trust with what you've got going on. So AI delegation, if we're running a business, but the other side of it is also to take care of I'm going to call it my soul, but take care of my energy, right? Because the energy at the end of the day, like I wake up high energy, right? My poor wife that I've been with for 20 years, she's like, oh God, this guy, don't drink a lot of coffee, honey. Because but I'm automatically high energy. I'm always go, go, go. Now I can take that energy, put it into business, but I can also put it into my personal relationships and life, right? And really enjoy this journey because this journey is not guaranteed, right? And I think we see this quite often. I've seen this with friends of mine that have passed away, with my son's friends that have passed away. And a lot of those are reminders to me that, hey, I don't know if next time I see you, Eric, I'm going to give you a nice big hug because guess what? I'm hoping we see each other again, but that might be the last time, right? And so I don't mean I'm not a doomsdayist of like, oh my God, but you just don't know, right? So I want to, instead of spending 5 minutes with you, I'd like to spend an hour with you. I'd like to spend a weekend with you, really get to know you, really get to develop relationships of people that are awesome, not just in business, but just, people that do good things, right? That have a good heart. That is so much more valuable. Or volunteering my time. I did a lot of that during COVID. I mean, I worked for the government doing some stuff. So I say volunteering my time because the government doesn't pay a lot. So I pretty much was volunteering. I can either make X amount with my personal companies or I volunteered because I wanted to help people. And so that brought me joy, right? It wasn't the money. My team's like, you're going from making this hourly to having the government, not pay you for 90 days and all this. Why are you doing that? Well, because I want to help these businesses, right? And that brought me joy. It wasn't a financial decision. That made it so I got to a point where this made me happy that I was helping these businesses that were being shut down and that were like, man, I have a restaurant. I was going to sell my business next year. Now look at this, right? So that's what I looked at as okay, how can I give back, right? I've learned some stuff through the years and how can I give back to people? And so that's been a big thing for me is, once again, valuing my time and my energy and how I spend that, but also giving back and it not always being financially driven, right? I don't need to make $1 every time you and I talk. And so it's just changed my mindset, man. I know the podcast's over. You didn't have any time to ask any questions. And there we go, you guys. Thank you for everything. No, I'm just kidding.
It sounds so. I've got this book that I've been writing for the last couple of years. And it's called Rich Monk. And the idea behind Rich Monk is how you balance the idea that to desire things, to want things, especially physical things, is the source of in
For
humanity,
sure.
right? I don't have the Rolex, I don't have the car, I don't have the successful business. I'm not Elon Musk, nor could I get there. That friction between those two things, right, can cause quite a bit of pain and suffering for people. But also, there's a certain level of wealth that I think once attained makes it easy to buy the time back in your life, right? You start to, the people who are 200K who at least who can pay for cleaners and pay for a handy person and pay, get those things off their plate. They are living at an elevated way, and they are able to get more out of life. And so I've been writing this book, and all the things that you're talking about very much resonate with me, because I've entered this same phase where I look at the biggest goal on my list and I just think about, I put myself in the, if I have achieved this thing, what is it that I've actually done? Who have I become on the way to get there? And it turns out that it doesn't really matter what the goal is for me. It just matters that I set it. Whether that's a goal with my family, or it's a goal with my relationship, or it's a goal for fitness, or if it's a goal for actual finance and business. The only thing that has mattered now to me is the fact that I have it and that I own it, right? That I take responsibility for it. And so you used to have all these goals. And I knew that for myself, when I went through this transition, I felt like I was giving up, like tapping out on the big goals. And it's like, oh, I'm going to settle for mediocre.
Yeah.
Did you a transitional period like that? And how did you navigate that? And then how did you change the way that you approached your goal setting in your life after this transition that you went through?
Yeah. I mean, my thing was always all gas, no brakes. I would tell the whole team that's all gas, no brakes. Like, hey, well, let's get that done on Monday. Well, what can we do to get it done today? Right. And not necessarily to push my team to, be all stressed out. But at the end of the day, I was like, there's no better time than now. Well, what I realized through that, and once again, through delegation and through saying, okay, what can I do? There's only 24 hours in the day. I hate to inform everybody of that. I know that's shocking to a lot of people, but there's only 24 hours, right? And are you more effective if you're working 12, 15, 18, 20 hours? I can tell you you're not. You might be getting stuff done. You might be sitting in your chair, but you really need to optimize your hours, right? There's a certain amount of, whether that be in the morning time, that's the afternoon, that's when are you best? When do you have your best energy? When do you get your stuff done that you need to get done? But what I realized is I had to start taking my time back, right? Because that's what I was missing and you can't, time is one of your most valuable resources. If I can have all the money in the world, but if I don't have any time to spend it, right? I would rather have more time than less money. So the transition for me was very difficult because once again, like you said, you kind of feel like, ooh, like I used to tell people, with people that I was like, other entrepreneurs were like, yeah, I'm working 12 hours. I'm like, oh, you're doing halftime. That's what I would tell them, right? Like, oh, you gotta get up with me, man. Like, so that was my mentality. And then what I realized was I can work less hours, be more effective, and have an amazing team and, delegation, project management, all that kind of stuff go in, because I'm more of a visionary. And I don't mean that like a visionary, like I'm, like, come follow me and join my church or something. Visionary as in, I realize over time, I'm not great at implementation. I'm great at putting the processes and telling it, hey, this is what we want to see, and then hiring out. And then that's how my vision comes to life, right? And so there's books that I've read, obviously, on being a visionary or, somebody who implements the ideas. Not everybody is both. It's very difficult to be both if you have multiple businesses. Like Elon Musk isn't building his cars, right? Like, obviously, right? Like, so what I looked at was, how do I make my time more valuable, right? And so I'm not working as many hours, but I'm getting probably just as much work done. And then also knowing that if I'm off at a conference for a week or I go on family vacation, that my team still has things going, right? That good things are happening there. And it's not relying on me. I'm no longer the roadblock. What I am is the person that puts the plan together, have the team implement it, and good things are happening. So, it's been awesome.
So there's an Family Guy I remember where their TV breaks, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, what do we do now? And over the next or so, while they're getting it fixed, or like the power goes out or something like that. Oh yeah, so a car runs into like the dish, and everybody's out of, and so they start, going to like like Worst Fest, and they're doing all these fun things. They're learning to tap dance, and they're learning to parasail, and then TV come back, and they're like, ugh, like what did I, never spend time doing that. And so with that kind of thinking of now you've gotten into this different mindset, you've eliminated this like money variable in your life. Did you find yourself more interested in the things in life that you hadn't been? Did you find more variety? Did you find yourself going to more events and concerts and like prioritizing, looking for those things that kind of give you that spice of life? And how have you accelerate, because you're going hard all the time, how have you incorporated those new things, right, the experience of new into your life since reprioritizing things?
Yeah, a great question. So, I mean, this is what happened. My wife used to tell me all the time, and she's like, "Hey, what are your hobbies?" And I'm like, "Business,
work, baby." Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You know where I'm at? I'm in my chair. Like I'm working. What I do. She's like, "No, what are your hobbies?" And I'm like, "I feel like you're asking me the same. I told you what it is. I'm work. Love this." Okay. So what I finally realized after my wife telling me that maybe, a few thousand times, because I'm a good husband and I listen, after 1,000 times, and it really sinks in. I realized that, you know what? I need an outlet, right? I need an outlet other than working. And so what happened was, I've always been that time when it was, 18 to 20 hours, I was 30 pounds overweight, once again, energy drinks, all this kind of stuff to get me, to be able to maintain. I realized when I stopped doing all that stuff, there was a lot of things. I money when I quit doing that. What I was doing is actually making it so my business can move forward, right? Because I was doing the delegation side of things. But the other thing is when I was working, I was so much more productive because guess what? I had an awesome weekend, right? We just went to a concert. We just saw one of our favorite artists. Another big thing that happened right after COVID is we bought an RV and we went on a 5-week RV trip. And I Starlink and got backup satellites and backup this and backup to my backups. I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna get internet anywhere. I can be in the lake soaking wet, and I'll have a aluminum cap on my head, and I'll have my phone in here, and I'll be the guy like I will get reception. And what happened was we were in Montana, we were in Utah, we were in just all over, right? We went all the way up from Nevada all the way around, and it was a 5-week thing. And there was quite a few times my internet wasn't working. And I was like, oh God, my internet. Oh my God, my internet. And I was like, wait, good. This is awesome. Right? Like, wait a second. Right. And this is when I had an amazing team. And guess what? I've got crazy, crazy news for you. My business didn't go down. Sales didn't go down. Everything was fine. But, the old Shane was coming out and like, oh my God, I've got to get internet. And I'm, oh my God. I was so happy that I wasn't getting it. By the end of it, I didn't want to do any meetings. Like I shouldn't tell my team that, but I literally was like, oh man, if the internet's not here today, that would be kind of nice, right? Because I want to go to the lake and I want to go ride bikes with my wife and I want to walk my dogs. And so I realized that I was filling my tank up with family time, dog time, and I was filling my tank up so I can be ready for the warrior, right? For my days of sin and maximize my 3-4 hours, 2 hours, whatever I'm spending. Great. So those are maximized. I'm getting maximum output, send it out to my team. They have their things to do. My goal was to do a meeting an hour a day. And that's about what I did when I was on the road. Once again, nothing changed. Sales were still good. Things were still coming in. Now we have a very unique offering. So I will, there is some uniqueness in that, but it didn't affect anything except now when I'm on a meeting, fully in the meeting, right? I'm not like tired. I'm not trying to lift myself up with another cup of coffee. I'm not, and your energy is contagious. So if I'm on a meeting with you and I'm like, oh man, it's a long night, right? You're going to mirror image my energy, right? Like when I come into the podcast, if I was like, oh man, it was a long night, people are going to be like, dude, what a dud. Why'd you have that guy on there? I come in full energy because guess what? Because I just replenished my energy. Because I went on I went on an 8-mile walk this morning. I started at 5:30. Right? Like that's where I enjoy it. That's how I fill my cup. And then guess what? When I come in these meetings, people know that I'm going to come in with some energy and we're going to be getting some stuff done and we're going to be productive. But we have set amount of time. I don't want to spend 8 hours with you. I love you, but I don't want to spend 8 hours with you. We got other things that I need to get done.
Priorities.
And so, the priorities. And so, you think that it's going to be lonely and you think, what am I going to do? How am I going to fill my time? And now I find myself, looking for what is my next outlet? What else do I want to do? What is the next concert? My wife and I now buy concert tickets 3 months ahead of time. When before it was like, oh, they're in town. Oh man, we missed it. Now we just bought stuff for Bottle Rock. That's what we do at our anniversary. We just went and got some amazing tickets, got a hotel. And guess what? I can't wait. Another 3-4 months. It's going to be awesome. All these big artists. So those are the kind of things I always have something in my queue that I'm going to be looking forward to. That's a trip. That's something with the family. And it's long term. It's not a one day, 1 hour, 10 minutes, high five my wife. Like I'm looking at what do we need to do? Like my poor wife is like, what can we do to hang out more? And she's like, why aren't you like other husbands? Like, why don't you just not want to hang out with me? And I'm like, no, I want to hang out with you.
Sorry.
Nothing against all the other husbands. I'm sure you guys are awesome with your wives. Yeah. For me, it was like, what are we going to do? We're in this world. We're in this life. I don't know how much longer we've got. Let's go have some fun. Let's do something that's going to put a smile on our face. And so that's what we do now. And it's absolutely awesome. But it was not an easy transition because I went from all gas, no brakes, got to work harder, got to work longer. There's nobody, and I tell you right now, there's nobody that would get up earlier than me and that would go to bed later than me. Nobody. Literally, maybe Elon, because I brought him up like 3 times. But I'm telling you right now, I was that guy. I prided myself on being able to outwork people because of my work ethic. That's awesome until you get to a point where you low energy, your things, it's just you're not fit. And so that transition is, and I can't say it changed my life, but it might have my life because of where the direction I was heading in. I was going all in and like, you know what, I'll die in this seat. And that does not sound awesome to me today. It's comfortable, but I don't want to die in this seat.
I'm glad you arrived where you're at. And Shane, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can go over to TraceFuse.ai. So you go over to TraceFuse.ai. That's the company. That's one company. Or you go over to ShaneBarker.com. That's the other site that I have. You guys can reach out at any time.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been the Pulse Ox podcast. Please, if you found this episode valuable, give us a like on Spotify and share it with a friend.